Hello, Scott here, and welcome back to yet another completely unprofessional unboxing. And we are back with part 2 of, well, I guess this can be described as almost a deep dive into the new Hyperborea 3rd edition, because the first part of it was just over an hour long.
Right.
And we may have lost track of time, as we tend to do when we're looking at something as wonderful as this. But welcome back, and if you're here skipping part 1 for some reason and moving on to part 2, I am here with a very special guest as we're going through this book. We both received this, fairly recently. We've been waiting for it for some time, and with a lot of joy and anticipation, we are going through the pages of this book. We have here Matt Kraft at Crafty Matt on Twitter. How you doing today?
Good.
Good.
At Crafty Matt Kraft.
At Crafty Matt Kraft. Yes, thank you. And yes, there's no illusion of time. We literally just pressed stop, had a sip of coffee and some water, had a little chat, and we are back. So, yes. Anyways, I am babbling as I do. So we are here with Volume 2, the Referee's Manual of the Hyperborea 3rd edition by Jeff Talanian. And let's just dive right into it. And it's this one. This one is numbered also. This one is number 22.
By Jeffrey Salanian.
Salanian, yes. As you can tell. Oh, wow. Jeff, if your hand was cramping up on book 22, I really hate to see a book like 856. So, just at that point, it's just an ink stamp and a thumb.
Well, hopefully he's doing these in batches.
Yes. He's had hopefully plenty of time to do that. But all right, let me just move this out of the way. All right, we've got the same artwork here, so kind of carrying into it. So we're getting into the first part of the player's manual was just over 300 pages, which is still a chunky, beefy game,
yes,
just by itself. But this part 2, which I'm going to cheat a little bit here, is also just slightly over 300 pages, 301, of the Game Master's Manual, or the Referee's Manual, I should say. And we've got... So then we're going to get into what seems to be... I'm not going to say standard information, but you're going to start, at least within the beginning, an understanding of the game that you're going to be running, and preparing you as a referee, which you'll see in so many different games. Some of them are actually very helpful. Some of them are kind of gimmicky. Some of them are long-winded. And some of them just kind of drop you in the middle and say, good luck.
Right. This rides that fine line of giving you the information, again, without being too wordy or in the vein of high Gygaxian.
Right. So we've got chapters here. So there's gonna be 4 chapters. Or 5, I should say. The introduction, an entire chapter on refereeing, the bestiary, treasure, yes, and a very helpful and much needed gazetteer within this world, I would say. So, and then of course the appendix in the back, because we are not Palladium.
Right. Wow. Now, this is important to note.
Right.
Not 10 pages in, it's already saying that players take notice. This book includes a substantial amount of information intended solely for the eyes of the referee. A player looking up a monster statistics or magic item property during the gameplay is not only in poor taste, but will also incite the fury of Zathaqua.
Right. We've all played in games where we've played it before, right? Keep on the Borderlands.
Right.
And, we some of us know the ins and outs of that keep, and yet we still could play it and not have it be spoiled on it, so to speak. We still find enjoyment within it. And even though some of the mystery is gone, there's still aspects about it that you enjoy. Well, within Hyperborea, I want to say I would not qualify that as one of those, because if you do tend to cheat, so to speak, so much of that wonderful aspect of the game can be spoiled as a player. And this is definitely one of those where I feel if you want to if you want to run Hyperborea and you have an opportunity to play it first, play it. Play it as much as you can before you see what's behind the curtain, if you can.
But an important distinction between other Game Master guides where it says this is for the referee's eyes only, this is for the dungeon master. It specifically says during play.
Right.
So it's still encouraging you to look through the book, but don't have it like sitting on the table while you're rolling dice and like, okay, well, I think I know what this creature is. Let me find out what its AC is.
Right. You find a 12-inch piece of metal with what seems to be some sort of soft handle on it. Oh, that's a ray gun. It does 8d6 damage.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going into chapter 11, refereeing Hyperborea. Now, I think you're in agreement that there's a specific type of refereeing skill in regards to this game. That's not necessarily a requirement, but something that you would want to be aware of if you're running a game for Hyperborea. What do you think?
Yes, that is one is make sure that you keep things fantastical, but also make things fun.
Yes.
The big thing with a game like Hyperborea or DCC is up front, let your players know that this is going to be a deadly game, that character death is around the corner. So it's important that you be fun, but also extremely fair.
Right.
I would say that fudging the dice behind a screen is not something that you really want to do with this game, considering how deadly it is. Anytime an important roll needs to be made, make it in front of the players, and then let the players know, hey, this is what happened.
Right. I agree. And the one thing you learn rather quickly is death isn't necessarily the end within this game.
Right.
There's always another story to be told, and likewise, so many of my characters that I have lost within the game is still an ongoing character arc, either for with the party, or even for the current character that I'm playing. That my dead characters are still playing a role within the game itself. So they're gone, but not forgotten. Sorry for sounding so corny.
Right.
All right. So we're going to get some advice here in the beginning, which is, and this is no slight against it, but this is standard for a lot of, especially dual manual books where there's a player side and a referee GM side. He's got some advice here on the long form campaign, one shots and convention games, which is always a helpful addition to any, I don't care what game it is, but even if it's just a paragraph, just a little bit of advice on, hey, there's a difference between a one shot and a convention game as opposed to running a regular game with your friends and people at the table. All right, so breaking down experience. So experience within the game is going to be a mixture of slaying monsters, but primarily like D&D or AD&D, it's going to be based upon treasure.
Right.
Yes.
It's how much can you haul out. Typically, it's 1 XP per GP of value. This game does use the gold standard. And then also, how well did you role play? Did your character attain a goal or a milestone? Not milestone leveling, but complete a quest. That will give you XP as well. Another thing about this XP is, like, if you notice here on this side, is training. Okay, XP is then converted into training time, and it could take a week or more for a first level character to make it to second level.
Yes,
and then a certain amount of cost as well.
What do you mean? I didn't just wake up and know how to do a whirlwind slash?
No.
Oh, shit.
No, it's not like you didn't just cut down that goblin and then a bright light happens over your head and all of a sudden you know how to cast spells. It doesn't work that way.
Aw. Well, glad I wasn't expecting that. So,
and that does lead into interesting things. Again, as a referee, you have to consider this as well, is that for training, if a character wishes to learn a new proficiency in a weapon, that may take a quest to go find a teacher.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, there's the aspects within the game, and I love games like this where it's not just about the quest. I mean, or the adventure. That's a big part of it, but there's all these little things that bring your character to life that this particular game provides. That it's always interesting, even downtime. A lot of times downtime can be, either just hand wave, somewhat boring. But in regards to this particular game, it can make it interesting. I mean, yeah, some people may go, I just want to learn how to use a spear. Can't I just learn? Well, you could. Or you can go seek out the Spearmaster up on, Mount Oblivion. And when you get there, if he not only will he teach you how to use a spear, but he may teach you something special. Well, hell yeah, sign me up for that instead. So,
but that's only if you can take a hair off of his beard in a fight.
Right, exactly. Oh, yes. No, those are the things that I live for. All right, so the Bestiary. Now, one thing I am not familiar with, I'll be perfectly honest, is as stated in the other episode, is I try to keep some of the mystery of Hyperborea during the game that I was playing, second edition, with Andy, a mystery. And one of those things that I never really dove into, even though I own the book, even though I'm not one to metagame, I never really read that much into the Bestiary. So I'm completely just a Luddite when it comes to, other than the things that I've encountered, what exists within this game. So I couldn't tell you if what they've added or what they haven't.
You do have some classic Dungeons and Dragons monsters, the ones that are not proprietary.
Right.
But then you also have creatures from history. Mm-hmm. You have creatures from science fantasy, and certainly from the Cthulhu mythos. And then you will notice that there are no dragons in this game. There are wyverns, there's basilisks, there's giant lizards, mm-hmm. but no proper dragons.
Is there a reason for that?
It's a stylistic choice.
Okay.
A dragon, what we think of in like 4 legs, wings, being able to speak to you and cast magic spells, dragon, mm-hmm. is fantastical mm-hmm. on a different level than this book wants to be. This book is, if you're going to fight a quote unquote a dragon, it is going to be a wyvern. It's going to be a basilisk or some other kind of a giant lizard. It's not going to be a benevolent creature, or the opposite of a benevolent creature. It's not. It's just. I like that choice.
Right.
And one of my very first interactions with Hyperborea was the eyeless serpent.
Okay.
And that to me set the tone of what Hyperborea is.
Right.
In that the eyeless serpent of I forget the full name of it, but the idea is the players learn about a basilisk that can cry gems, and their entire motivation is go get the gems. There's no
right.
There's no greater good. It's this thing cries gems. Go get them.
Right. I paused here for a moment just to point this out. If you would have told me that the color out of space was going to be in the Bestiary, I would have said, what are you talking about?
No, it's all there.
That's fantastic.
You've got you have elder things in here.
Yeah, I'm seeing things that we have fought. There's also so many things that we haven't even touched upon. Now, I'm very familiar with lesser demons as a necromancer. That's one of the things that the necromancer within the game, of course, deals with death, but they are also a conjuring aspect to it, where they're conjuring demons. It's not just all about skeletons and zombies and whatnot. So, yes, and they're very, very difficult to deal with. It's not you just don't conjure them and they're there. I mean, there's a fairly good chance every time you conjure them, they're going to turn on you and kill you.
Right,
every time. It's a last minute aspect.
No, snake creatures are also very important to Hyperborea as well.
Right,
going back to Conan and.
Oh my! Okay,
yeah, it's a big bestiary. So
this is
bestiary.
This is going to expand on it. I would imagine it does. I don't remember it being this big.
It is quite large in the second edition book as well.
Got it. Okay. Oh, wow. We're only on P's. Snake men, yes. There they are. Yes. Specters. And now,
yeah,
we actually came in contact with one of these.
Oh, you did?
Yes. And, okay, so the Transmundane. That is my paladin is currently carousing across the galaxy with a Transmundane. That's where he left off when we had taken a break.
Oh,
so
really?
They had a choice when we were as this pillar. We were causing this pillar to collapse. I was given a choice because at this time, I was about ready to make a new character because the paladin was just getting the joke had almost run dry. The well had almost run dry on the paladin joke. Turning the corner and going, how did all these people get here dead? So I was kind of given the choice: did you want to make a new character? Did you want to turn him evil? That kind of thing. And so as the conclusion of the story, the Transmundane had reached out her hand and said, "You could stay with him or come with me." And I said, "Screw it, I'm going with you." So. No idea what happened to him. No idea what's going on with him. We'll find out when we return to the game. Currently, he will be an NPC, but there's always the option to go and find him. So.
Right.
Right. Okay. Oh, there we go. We're getting into... And then we've got the tables. All right. Treasures. Now, there was no lack of magic within the game, but it's not like it was falling out of our ears. You would occasionally find some sort of magical item, but there was always at a cost,
right?
Within this game,
and treasure tables are handled like they are in BX or in AD&D, in that the monster has a code depending on whether or not they are within their lair or not,
right?
And then it goes out from there, but you got your finger on it, but there are some really fantastical magical items that you can get, or what is considered magical items,
right?
But not really. Example: a suit of power armor would be considered a magical item, even though it is technology.
Yes. Pistol, a ray gun, all of these things. An arrow that shoots lasers, a crossbow of lasers, all of which that we had, but we never really used because we were afraid, how many charges does it have? Oh,
right.
That kind of thing. Or extremely overpowered. I believe I see this now. I don't know if it was this one, but there was either a pistol or a rifle that we had that I nearly killed my party by trying to use the darn thing. So
noisy cricket.
Yes. Oh. We'll move you down there. There we go. But yeah, so I mean, it's just this wonderment and excitement, and it's just this whole new world that it's not impossible to ignite my imagination, but it's not. It's still bogged down by the cynicism of just being our age.
Right.
And we've read a lot, we've seen a lot, we've read a lot, but it's just for some reason this game just has a special place in my heart, that it's just this world of excitement of being 12, 13-year-olds again exists within this particular game without question.
Well, a lot of this fantasy and a lot of this science fiction is from our childhood, which somewhere in the late 80s, it changed.
Right.
That type of fantasy fell out of favor.
So here we are with the Gazetteer. So right now we are at page 221. So we've got about 221 pages of referee advice, a rather large bestiary, and magic items and magic item creation, and so far. So that's a good chunk for at a referee's disposal to bring this world to life here. But then you've got even more. You've got the actual in-world information.
Right.
Should you choose to use it, Hyperborea is not contained within the world itself. As stated, this can be used as as replacement for any fantasy game. Utilizing the character classes in whatever world that you have. So.
But the world is just, it's so
Yes.
good. It's so good.
Yeah.
You should at least try to play it. Like,
Go ahead.
you got Saturn up there. You have this where you've got whatever planet. There's Stonehenge there. It's just, it's gonzo, but it's without being completely gonzo.
Right. It's not comic book ridiculous Gonzo.
Right.
Yeah. Or total edgelord Gonzo.
Here it is.
Yeah.
This is the calendar that I was talking about that was in the previous editions.
Yep.
It'll show you across the top. You choose what year in the current cycle that you're in. And then here it'll show you week 1 through 4, just how much daylight or how much nighttime there is, depending on the cycle that you're in.
Oh, wow.
And you can go on to the Northwind Games website and actually download a calendar where you can fill in events and ideas.
Oh, see, I honestly couldn't tell you if Andy was using that because it never really occurred to us in any aspect. I mean, there was a lot of overland travel, but also in regards to, but a lot of times that it wasn't hand wave, but it was just like it's dark now or it's light now, that kind of thing.
Right.
So we weren't paying attention to the details, nor would we really need to. That's the GM side thing. So, so we got the chronology here, different aspects of climate and seasons, flora and fauna. So yeah, so it's a rich world. But with just enough to start you off in filling in the gaps.
Right. It tells you what the town is. It tells you, generally speaking, who is in the town. But it's up to the referee to flesh it out. Very old school in that it doesn't really handhold you through world creation. It's there to spark your imagination. And so my Chromeria will be a lot different than your Chromeria.
Oh, absolutely. They'll share some regards, but
Right.
it won't be the same. And which is great because I don't like something completely filled in that doesn't give you any breathing room. But nor do I want just a completely blank slate either. Like,
Right.
Like here's a city state. What's there? Here's a city state.
Right.
All right. So we've got some information about the gods here, and also different realms, which again you need to fill in yourself. The obelisks, the North Wind, the rapids at the end of the world, Relay, and Underborea, all of which we all know it's the Underdark of Hyperborea, so to speak, and of course Cthulhu lies sleeping, but just enough there to just you need to fill in the gaps yourself. We have fought many a Cthulhian worshipper in Hyperborea, and then yes,
Dune reference there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So weather, and again, we're getting into some of the crunch of it. These are things that some people care dearly about, and they feel that it really provides deep immersion within the game, and some people love it. Others don't, but it's here as an appendix. Aspects of weather and things like that. So
I will use tables like this not to hammer my players over the head with it,
right.
But it informs me as a referee, as a games master,
right.
What is going on in the world, and honestly, I'm one of those forever game masters. I'm only really playing in one game right now,
right,
and we like our world creation more than I think
the actual game.
The actual game, right. We create 90% of only 10% of what the players actually see.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. I mean, that's an enjoyable aspect of that. That's there's games based upon that, of course. So, and nothing wrong with that. And yeah, I'm the same way. I like it may not hit me every time, but it's like, hey, what's the weather like? Let's find out. Here's what the weather's like today. Or you're starting, I know they're heading somewhere, where there's going to be some inclement weather. Let's see what the weather's like there.
Are those ship-to-ship rules?
Impossible. Who would do
Impossible.
that?
Who would do that?
Who would put ship-to-ship rules? I mean, just hand wave it. In fact,
Don't even worry about
worry about
ship-to-ship rules.
Yeah.
Just board the other ship and run combat like normal.
right. The ship is just a map.
Yeah.
And you know what really pisses me off?
Yeah.
Is these two books just cost a little bit more than that
set.
fucking
Yes.
box set.
Right.
Yes. I'm 25 minutes on the YouTube channel. I can curse now. So, but yeah. Oh my God. Just and I mean, a quarter of this book has more information in it than all of those books together. Anyways.
Enough about that. We're not.
So we've got warfare and sieges. So we've got mass combat within the game, at least aspects of it. It doesn't look like it's literal, warfare or wargaming, but there's a bit of it here to determine the outcomes of basic warfare.
Right. When your players reach that level of lordship,
right,
you may have another lord that wants to take the city and take your players' stuff.
Or another player.
That I have always wanted to run two groups.
Yes.
And run a domain game where both groups don't know they're playing against each other.
Oh God.
But the decisions of one group inform what's going to happen in the other player's group. Logistically, that's a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
I always wanted to try that.
Oh, it's one of those things where, the first session will be magical. You'll never forget it. The second session may be a little bit harder, and it will just degrade from there.
Yeah. And I when I picked up my Birthright box set, that's immediately what I thought. I was like, oh, I can pit two parties against each other. And then, no, that's just...
I mean, still, it still sounds amazing. It still sounds amazing. All right, so what do we have here? We'll set the game masters or the referees volume aside. So we have the Atlas. So, Matt, why don't you tell, the people here watching, there was a map for Hyperborea that came with the previous editions, but would you care to describe what that was like?
So I actually have.
Yes.
So this is, it's just a gigantic poster-sized map.
Right.
But honestly, if we just open up maybe just the first...
Careful. I'll let you do it.
There we go. So you can see that each one of these there's a little tiny hex, but honestly, the landmass that you're using is quite small.
Right.
However, that being said, Jeff Talanian made a canvas version of this map that is absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful. And honestly, if you're a Hyperborean fan, you should own it. But it is entirely unusable at the table.
Right.
So, Jeff Talanian, he took advice from various referees and game masters and created an atlas rather than creating a large map. He still promises, however, that a large map may still be coming.
Now, with a new edition, though, we have
Right.
Saturn showing in the aspects of space surrounding it. So, if this is recreated, I would love to have this black space filled in with the aspects of what you see in the sky. That would be fantastic.
That would be amazing. Yeah, the two moons.
Right.
Maybe have the red burning sun in the background.
So this map is done by Glenn Seal. Again, shout out to Glenn. I know you're watching. But this is probably, for me, and likewise possibly for you and others, one of the best modern maps that has come out in a long time.
Yeah, it definitely reminds me a lot of the old Darlene maps from Greyhawk.
Right. And this is when I talk about maps, so it's divided into different sectors, which is nice. When I talk about maps, and I don't know if it's a word, but a mapophile. I'm sure it probably means something different, so I may get canceled for it. But I love my maps, and because that was always the first thing, or one of the things that drew me into role-playing games when I was younger, was you would open up, a book or something, and especially in a novel like the classic Lord of the Rings, what's the first thing you saw was a map, whether it be a map from Lord of the Rings, map in a Hobbit, and then other novels followed suit. Role playing games would then have when you open up the box set, you set the books aside and you unfurl that map. What's on this map?
And old modules used to have the blue tinted maps that would be on the inside covers.
Right.
You would have to remove the staples in order to get the full map off. So maps were always such a huge part of role playing. Mm-hmm. And there was a buddy of mine, Randy, and this was way back in 5th grade. Mm-hmm. And we used to sit in when we weren't on the swings playing TIE fighters and all of that. we would sit in the cafeteria and we would draw out maps, and then we would run each other in each other's maps.
Oh, nice.
And that is how I really got started in role playing. So like you, maps are incredibly important to the role playing experience.
Right. I mean, we would sit around and we would look at a map and go, what's at the Diamond Desert? And then, if you were running the game, you would flip through the Gazetteer. Right. Hopefully there'd be some reference on it. And then it's like, well, we want to go there. So then suddenly you got to realize, well, they're going through the Chimerian Steppe. They're going to pass by Cape Calencia. And then suddenly you have, your at least your overland adventure plotted out. Mm-hmm. And it's just, you were so excited. And then of course you'd be like, oh, well, we're passing here. What's over at this place? You're like, fuck.
Right, and exactly. You have to fill in that information. Right. You step out into the field. The wind blows the wheat ever so slightly across the way. You see the blue tinted castle in the distance. What's in the castle? Window dressing. No, we want to go to the castle.
Oh shit. Bathroom break. So it's right. Okay. So I've seen what they did here. I've been looking forward to look at this, and it looks, I mean, obviously they haven't changed much of it. I couldn't tell you. I don't know the map by heart. But I do kind of like what they did. And then they also have the references here in the back, an index to the locations. And some of them have a variety of locations, which is nice. It's not just to the Gazetteer paragraph
right.
in the aspects. So aspects of the geography. So yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. This is a nice addition. Again, I don't know if this is as usable. I mean, not saying that the map was usable at all, but you at least can open this up and have it as a player reference. You can hold it up, but I'm still going to have to run off copies of this,
Yes.
Or print out copies of this and hand to the player. So I've got, this is my reference, and I'm going to print out either black and white or color copy to hand to them. This is not something I could just set in the middle of the table.
And just because you have all of this blue here
right.
doesn't mean that you as a referee cannot fill that in with islands and raiding pirates and all of that. The idea is that Hyperborea is a lost land for right. you to fill in,
yeah.
and this right here is the known world.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then there's little outskirts of important little things just on the edge if you dare go out there.
And there's even this island that floats out here that it's out, and it kind of makes this I guess you could say orbit around Hyperborea.
Yeah.
And there's some really nasties there.
So yes, but no, I this is definitely far usable than the map was,
right?
Without question. So,
but almost needs the map as reference,
right?
And so again, I'm looking forward to when Jeff Talanian when he produces a new version of the map.
Now, before we close, this here is a new adventure, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It is.
Okay.
And it even bears the new title. Instead of being Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers, it's now just Sword, Sorcery, and Weird Science Fiction or Science Fantasy. But it is still in the same form factor as the other modules, the same kind of art, same kind of text.
Now, this was the format from the original one, right?
Right.
Wasn't the Late Trapper's Lament, was this an original? This was not something that came, because for some reason it rings a bell.
You may be thinking of the, what was it, the Wolf's Daughter, or
maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a moment where I think Jeff Talanian was selling like an older adventure. It looked like it was designed for first edition, and I picked it up and have to find it, but it was done in a very similar style to this.
Oh, maybe it is then. Maybe I am mistaken. I just know that this is a new adventure,
right,
for third edition. Again, you can see as soon as you open those modules, boom, there's a map of Seawolf Island,
which we've been to.
Oh,
Along the edge right here. We made a horrible mess of everything, as we tend to do in our Hyperborea game, where we're full of good intentions, and as soon as those good intentions run out, we hightail it while things are burning behind us. So, this does seem to be, it takes place in Seawolf Island, but the Seawolf's Daughter is, I believe, was what that adventure was called. So it's a return to familiar grounds, but this is something totally new. And for anyone looking, obviously spoilers, but we're just going to kind of page through this real quick, because, this is done in it's done in an old school style, but
right.
It is still something where, if you had opened up to this page and didn't see the cover, you would, if you're familiar with Hyperborea, you'd probably go, this must be a Hyperborean adventure. It's got its own style to it, to its formatting. And here we are. Artwork with
again, excellent artwork.
Yeah,
excellent maps, usable maps.
Right.
The one thing I don't like about most modern maps is they fill their maps with too much dungeon dressing.
Yes.
To where it's entirely just unusable.
Right.
And hard to recreate on, say, a battle map, or hard to describe to players exactly what is useful.
We've got handouts. We have handouts.
Which, honestly, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to, cut along the edge here and then hand them directly out to your players for them to mark on.
Like hell. Get out of my house. Oh, and also with this, I'm supposed to take a highlighter and a Sharpie and just mark off each
absolutely,
thing as
right?
I describe it. Yeah. Nope. That's put the lipstick on, because there's something you can kiss with that.
Yeah,
so.
No. Some games come with maps with stickers on them, and you're supposed to place the stickers. I won't even do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's heresy.
So real quick before we close this one up, you brought the first edition. If you wouldn't mind, Matt, just we'll close out on a glance at that, just to see where Hyperborea came from. So I'll let you take the lead on this one. So
the way that it started is it did start with two spiral bound books, and again you can see this is a signed and numbered copy, but you have the player's manual, and then you also have the referee's manual. This is old spiral bound stuff, so it's the form factor. The art is great, but it reads more like a how do I say this? Like a business not a business catalog, but like you would go to business training and they would hand you a manual,
like a reference, like a manual.
Yeah, and then of course it also comes with these dice. These I have not colored in because again I'm not insane.
Right.
And this is the old edition of the map.
Oh
here.
wow, interesting. All right.
And then I also have the character sheets, both in white and then also in the goldenrod, because goldenrod character sheets are super important. The thing with the internet today, though, is of course you can go on to Northwind Adventures and you can find character sheets to download. I know that in the second edition they did print goldenrod character folders, of which I have a couple of those, just again because I'm insane.
Yeah. our game master Andy, this player's handbook for second edition was actually a Christmas gift. He bought all of us copies of this, along with one of those folders with the Goldenrod character sheets inside of them, and they are superb.
But as you can see, there was art to it. Some of the art is the same, but honestly, this is very light on art. It was more of a usable, almost like it was a self-made project,
right?
Rather than what it has become. So it's still very special to me. This is my collector's box. I do have another box that I was running out of that is not as complete as this. I paid a pretty penny to get this one, but it is a complete box, rated M for mature,
right?
And yeah, it's but I really. I came back to role-playing around 2014, 2015 after a long hiatus, getting married, having kids.
Yeah.
And, of course, started with the world's most known RPG.
Right.
And then quickly found Hyperborea and like, oh, man, this runs like the games that I used to play.
Right.
And so it has become the darling of my OSR that I can't get anybody to play because they would rather play the 900-pound gorilla in the room.
Right.
So, but that is, and Jeffrey Talanian, I have thanked him up one side and down another. When he sent me a copy, well, I had purchased a copy of the map, the canvas map,
right,
and it had come damaged. It had a crease in it from shipping. It also, I don't know how it happened, but it had a couple of holes, little tiny small pinholes in it.
Oof.
So I reached out to Jeffrey Talanian, not for any other reason than, hey, just letting you know this happened in shipping. You may want to, have a better quality shipping and all of that kind of stuff in the future so it doesn't happen. And he says, I'll send you another one. And I'm like, really? And he's all, yeah. And I said, cool. I'll send this one back. And he says, no, keep that as a table copy.
Oh, jeez.
So I actually have two canvas maps. One is damaged, but that immediately made me a fan of Jeffrey Talanian and anything that Jeffrey Talanian does.
Yes, there are many people out there who conduct themselves like that, and it's one of those things where, it's same situation. It immediately makes me a fan of that. People that come to mind are like Levi Combs, even Glenn Seal with his Midderlands things, a lot of the people at Goodman Games conduct themselves in the very similar manner. It's not we're the producer of games, you're the players, and there's a split. It's like we're all in this together. You like what we like what you do. Thank you for buying our game. Let's enjoy this hobby together. And we all know shit happens. So,
right.
This is on us. Certain things are on you, but we're coexisting together. Let's make this as best of an experience as we can make it. And, and just this, cooperative, inclusive aspect, and not just at the table, but just by being nice people.
Right. And you get a sense of from people like Levi, people like Harley, and certainly Jeff Talanian, that these people play the games. They play the games first before they make the game, and their games are made entirely out of love for the game.
Right. It's funny you mentioned his name, Harley Stroh, I think.
Yes.
Yes. And you say that because on top of everything else, they're just down-to-earth people just like you and I. One of the most recent things that he posted that just absolutely floored me for like 2 days was Harley Stroh posted, I think there was some sort of topic about, like pirating a game or something. And his comment was, and I know I'm going to fuck it up or paraphrase it, he's like, oh, no, we were talking about organization in computers.
Okay.
And so it's just like, all my PDFs are all over the fucking place. And I made the comment of, and sometimes you'll download something and you'll find it in like your, Windows folder. Like,
right.
how the hell did this get here? And he's like, man, I'm so unorganized that it's easier for me to go to a pirated site to pirate my own game if I need to reference it rather than find it on my own computer.
Wow.
And I just laughed because, I mean, immediately, you know, people are going to go, wait, pirating games are wrong. It's like, but of course, the down to earth thing is like, well, it is, but pretty much everyone does it, and I needed my game, man.
Right. And he owns the game.
Right.
He wrote the game.
Right.
So, yeah, he's pirating. Who's he going to pay? Himself?
Exactly. You know, so it was just so funny when I read that. It was fantastic. So, yeah. So there we go. Thank you for, you know, sitting through 2 episodes of this. I know a lot of you probably haven't, but I do appreciate it. This has been a long aspect, you know, longer than what I usually do in regards to doing a deep dive into the game, but we had quite a bit to cover. And as always, it's nice having another voice and another, you know, guest on here to, you know, to speak with, you know, to chat with in regards to the game. And of course, that's going to, you know, drag it out because we like to talk.
Yeah. As everybody knows,
Yeah.
I am a rambler.
Yes, we both are. I think we've discovered that. So, again, my name is Scott. This is Matt.
And you can find me at Crafty Matt Kraft on Twitter. You can also find me at James Corp for the Chambers of Play, and that we are playing Savage Worlds Pathfinder. We just now finished up Hollow's Last Hope, so look for that at James Corp's YouTube, and soon we shall start Rise of the Rune Lord. So that's really where you're going to find me now.
Excellent. And I will definitely put a link of that in the description. So this has been yet another completely unprofessional unboxing. Until next time, have a great day.